This podcast is all about your journey in music and how you got to where you are now.
Mhm.
So,
Right.
from the UK, born and raised.
Yeah, so I live in the northeast of England. I was born in Durham. So it is near York, Newcastle, that sort of way.
Okay. And tell me how you got into music.
So apparently I used to sing in my cot. So I've been I've been surrounded by music all my life. Parents, family, there'd always be parties. I'd always get up singing. I started out in musical theatre. So we used to live in London, and mum was quite a successful hairdresser back then in London, and I would go to work with her sometimes, and I would sing to the models and celebrities. And
Oh,
I went to a theatre arts school every Saturday. And through that, I got the opportunity to perform at Her Majesty's Theatre in the West End when I was only 9, playing a young
wow.
Marilyn Monroe. So that was kind of my first performance. And then I got a guitar when I was about 14.
Hmm.
I was always writing stories as a kid, and I started turning them into songs with a guitar. And I started to enter lots of competitions, and yeah, it's taken me on many journeys, met lots
Sure.
of lovely people, and I just love music. I eat, breathe, and sing.
Hmm.
Yeah, always singing.
Wow. So your mom was a hairdresser to the celebrities and models and stuff. Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, so as I say, I used to go to work with her sometimes and sing to them, and now she runs a music venue. So
Oh,
she's
wow.
she's definitely an inspiration to me. She really works hard, and so yeah, she's creative, and my dad's, you know, such a big fan and loves music and is my roadie.
Oh, is he? That's cool.
Yeah. So no, it's nice to be brought up with music around me and friends. I have some friends in London who used to go to Nashville quite a lot,
Hmm.
and they introduced me to country music a little bit more.
I was gonna ask you how you got into
Yeah.
country especially from musical theater, and is country a big genre out in the UK?
It's definitely emerging.
Is it?
Yeah. So we've got the Country to Country Festival in London at the O2, which I was due to play this year, but hopefully, fingers crossed,
Yeah,
in
that it just transferred.
2021.
Yeah, it transfers to 2021, hopefully.
Yeah. So it's definitely emerging. You've got the likes of Ward Thomas and Twinney and the Shires. I think it could be even stronger. Um, but I mean, Nashville is the place really for it.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
and some of my friends, they told me about Nashville when I was about 14, and ever since then, it was a dream to go there. And then a few years ago, I went. So
Wow.
that was really an inspiring time, and it opened up a lot of country artists I've not heard of before. And
Mhm.
but I love that kind of Americana country storytelling thing that you get with that type of music. I love
Sure.
all types of music though.
Mhm. With when you went to Nashville for the first time, did you go for like a vacation just to kind of check it out, or did you go for like, writing and got to meet some people as far as like writing rooms and publishers, and how did that work?
So it was an amazing experience. I actually got sponsored to go out there. I got spotted on YouTube. Um,
Wow. Okay. I want to
I
hear this
know.
story.
Yeah.
So
And
you're putting songs up on YouTube?
yeah.
Okay.
So and this was I went there about 5 or 6 years ago. And when I was out there, I wrote with Jan Buckingham, who had written for Whitney Houston and George Strait, um, and I did some gigs out there. I wrote with a few people, But yeah, it all kind of came at, I was planning on going out there anyway, but
Mhm.
then I got this, this opportunity to go out there. So we went out there for a couple of weeks. But I'd love to go back there again one day.
Mhm. Well, how did you get the sponsorship to come out here and just get you were discovered on YouTube? I want to hear that. Were you doing covers, original songs? How did that work?
Yeah, so I was performing a cover of Country Roads, and it was, I was only young in the video, and someone had just seen the video and shared it to a few people, and they wanted to sponsor the trip, and um, and the business sort of wanted me to see how it was out there, and just a great opportunity, really.
Mhm. Mhm. So when did you start putting songs up on YouTube?
Oh, good question. I think I was about 16. So
Okay.
yeah, quite a few years back.
So you started with what, originals or covers? Like, how did that start?
I started out with covers, and then started to put more original music up.
Mhm. And
I,
you go ahead.
yeah, I started. I did an EP when I was about 17. I won some funding, and that paid for my first EP of a couple of songs, and that kick-started MySpace. So that's kind of how I started with the original music. I put stuff up on MySpace first,
Oh, okay.
and then um,
With that EP that you put out when you're 17, were you still like in school at that point?
I was at college
Okay.
then. Yeah.
And were you in college for music? Were you going to like an art school or?
So after school, went to college, studied performing arts, English literature, music. Then I took a year out,
Okay.
and because I wanted to try and save up money to um, go to university, but I wasn't sure whether to go down the acting music route
Mhm.
or just the music. And I decided to just focus on the music. And I entered a national talent competition, and I ended up winning it. Um,
Wow.
so I won £5,000, and that funded towards studying at Brighton Institute of Modern Music. So I moved to this amazing city down south,
Wow.
past London, right on the coast. Brilliant place for creativity. And I studied a year there, music. And then I studied at Access to Music in London, which is where Jess Glynne and Ed Sheeran went. So it was a real sort of
Oh, wow.
creative hub. Um,
Sure.
yes, so that was an amazing experience.
And how did you get into the school? Did you have to like provide a tape of you playing songs? Did you go and do an audition?
Yeah, we had to audition. So yeah, it was
Was that
good.
scary? I mean, is it nerve-wracking doing those things?
Um, I think I was probably a bit nervous at the time. Yeah.
Mhm. Well, so tell me about this national contest that you won. That's pretty impressive. I mean, how does this work?
Well, it was completely random. A lot of the time, when things happen when you least expect them, when you're not searching, if that
Sure.
makes
Right,
sense.
right, right. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So my auntie rang me up, and she said, "Oh, Hayley, I've just seen a sign outside saying national talent competition, um, and then the number to enter,
Mhm.
um, cash prize." So I rang up this number a couple of times and couldn't get through, but I just kept trying because I thought, well, maybe someone's out, or so I
Mhm.
kept trying. And it was actually in association with Marston's brewery trade. chain at the time. So it was quite random, and it was a load of all of the pubs in England basically sort of involved. And what you would do is you would have your regional like competition, and then it would broaden, and then eventually it would end up in a venue. I think the finals were in Derby or somewhere.
Oh,
Anyway,
okay.
so yeah, I just went for it, and it was mainly singers, and there were a few rappers, and there were a few sort of celebrity judges, and I got presented a big check at the end, and it was a great achievement.
That's so cool. That's so cool. How many people were in the competition? Do you remember?
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Um,
That's so cool though. Oh my gosh, what an achievement. And then with that money, you funded your first EP, or that's what started funding the newer record?
so the funding of that competition went towards my studying of at music at BIM in
Oh
Brighton.
yeah, oh yeah. I went to college. Sorry, I got confused there. So when did you put out? You 17. You put out the EP, the first EP.
Yeah, that's right.
And
So
did you tour or anything, or did you play it out, or like how did that? Or was it just kind of like for yourself, so to speak? I mean, how did that work?
it was more just something to put online, and then something to, put out there to get some gigs.
Hmm.
So I was gigging quite a lot at the time. Um,
Up and down the UK, or where were you playing?
it was kind of mainly in the northeast, so
Okay.
Newcastle and nearby cities and local things.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, it was fun. That was funded as well. So
Wow.
I, I performed at it's a big charity event in the northeast called Sunday for Sammy,
Hmm.
and I sang Over the Rainbow, and I had a choir behind me and a harp player who now goes to
Wow.
Juilliard, and that was amazing. And it was all filmed, and so it was a charity event at Newcastle City Hall, which is an amazing venue if ever you get the chance. Come to the UK.
Yeah,
Go-
we've never been. My wife and I really want to
Mm,
come out there. Yeah, yeah. We
yeah.
need to go.
Yeah, and there were some fantastic Northeast legends. It's a yearly event, so that year there was the band Lindisfarne, Mark Knopfler from Dire Straits,
Wow.
um, Matt Healy, who is now in the
He's
1975.
75, yeah.
Yeah, he was performing, and
Did he really? Wow.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
He's
yeah.
that wow, he's so massive.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, such a
And
big name.
and he actually told me I should do a cover of one of the records I put on my first EP, which was on MySpace. So I did that,
Really?
and
What did he tell you should do?
it was there's a band called the Sundays who were out in the 90s, and the song was
Okay.
called Here's Where the Story Ends.
And did you know the song, or you just took his suggestion and went with
I,
it?
I can't remember. I might have heard the song, but I went with it, and I did that.
That's awesome. He's such a nice guy. I've had a chance to meet him a few times.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
he's such a cool person. That just everybody in the 1975 is just such sweet guy, sweet guys, and obviously they've achieved quite a bit since. Yeah. Awesome. Well, you have some new music out. Tell me about these new songs, and what's the
So
plan?
yeah, so this year, obviously, a lot of the gigs were cancelled. So
Hmm.
it's given me time to write a lot of new music and work on older music that needed finishing. So back in April, I brought out a song called Thinking About Last Night, which was
Hmm.
sent to me from Nashville. I work with a writer called Bill DeLuigi, who's amazing. And he sent me that song, and that's that did really well.
Hmm.
Um, so that kind of that was sort of the first release of this year. And then I've recently released a song called Breathe,
Hmm.
which is I'm really pleased with the response of that so far. It's happy, it's uplifting, it's a good time to have put the song out,
Mhm.
and it has a bit of a message in it as well, because when we were in lockdown, we just had so much time on our hands earlier on this year, and it was the summer. So it was a chance for me to just, really go outside and make use of the time I had. And I live in the countryside, so I had chance to really, take it all in, I guess.
Sure, sure, yeah. What were you up to when the whole lockdown started? Were you performing quite a bit and that kind of shut down everything? Were you working on the new songs?
Yeah, so I was supposed to be playing at Country to Country back in
Oh,
March
right.
in London.
Mhm.
Yeah, so and we just gone into lockdown then. So I had quite a lot of gigs lined up for this year, but I connected and networked with different writers, and we've been writing on Zoom. So I've been making my way around the world, working with different writers,
That
and then
must be kind of cool to
yeah,
be able to
yeah,
work with different people from all over the world.
and then releasing new music next year.
Very cool. Did you write any of these songs or write and record any excuse me, any of these songs during like when you were locked down?
Yeah, so Breathe, that was produced like in home studios. So I wrote that song with a girl called Hattie Murdoch on Zoom. And
Wow.
she's just based in Newcastle, which is quite
Okay.
near me.
Sure.
And she produced the track at her house. And then we were sending files back and forth. And then it got mixed and mastered by Matthew Parisi in Brighton, who's really, really good and who I sometimes work with. So it's a really nice team. And then David Neil Crabtree, great guitarist. He put a bit of guitar on that. So it was a nice process, and it
Mhm.
came together quite quickly, really.
Was that I'm sure you had never written like that before. Was it hard to kind of get everything together? Did you have like a home studio to cut the vocals in? How'd that work for you?
Yeah, so with the vocals, I got them done nearby at a studio.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, everything else, it was kind of just done through the guitarist's house, the producer's house, and
Mm-hmm.
then everything in between.
That's really cool. What about like obviously releasing music right now must be kind of weird since you can't go out and perform it.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely helps to be able to like perform something and then promote it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you've just got to make the most of, Facebook. I find that Facebook is works quite nicely for me, and you
Oh,
can do,
that's kind of
live
the place for you.
and live streams. I've been putting some stuff up on YouTube. I'm supposed to be doing a gig in a couple of weeks' time, but we'll see if that goes ahead.
Oh, really?
So yeah, yeah.
Do you know anything about the gig? Is it like at a fairly big venue, like, or how they're gonna socially distance people? Any idea?
Yeah, so it's at the Forum Music Centre in Darlington, which is my hometown. So it'll be a local hometown gig,
Oh,
which I
cool.
love.
Yeah.
Um, but if it does go ahead, you'll only be allowed a certain amount of people. People will be in their own bubbles, sat at the tables.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be a completely different feel, because I love it, especially when you get that audience interaction where if I'm playing with my band, I move around, and I like it when the audience can move about and you kind of bounce off the energy of the audience. So, but it'll be a gig, and hopefully fingers crossed.
Right, right, right. With the live streams, I'm sure it's hard to you obviously can't really vibe off people that way when you're performing on a live stream.
It's definitely different. It helps when people comment, and then you can kind of have a bit of an
Oh, like a little
interaction.
okay.
But it's
Is it hard to follow the comments when you're playing?
It can be, and you can get a bit distracted, especially when some people say random things like, if you had a superpower, what would it be? And it kind of
Oh.
gets you thinking, and they start to ask you random questions, and it's very easy to go off piste a bit. You just got to be natural and go with the flow, I think. Just be you.
That's awesome. Well, with the newest single too, you have a music video that accompanies it.
Yes.
Talk to me about the video.
So the video, it was filmed at various locations near where I live. And we've got some beach shots. So I live near the coast. That was at
Mhm.
Saltburn Beach. We've got some farm shots. A friend of ours has a big farm, and there was lots of hay bales. So we used that. We wanted to try and get some nice scenic shots. Again, just, some nice sunny shots to go with the song, to have that movement. And it was a real
Mhm.
creative process, really. We didn't necessarily have a storyboard or, this is
Mhm.
what we're going to do. We just,
Sure. Yeah, like a shot list or anything.
yeah. So we just, it was just quite creative and really good fun.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, thank you so much, Haley, for talking with me today. I really appreciate your time. Um,
Thank
do
you.
Yeah, I do have one more question for you. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Yeah, I think just make sure that you're enjoying it, because it's very easy to get lost in people comparing themselves to other people's successes, especially with social media. um you've got to enjoy it yourself, and that is success in its own right. If you're enjoying what you're doing, then that's brilliant. And everyone's got opinions. If you like it, just go for it. Just believe in yourself.
Bringing it backward.